Daily December Art Candy, day 28. And this one is a big one, and it might be a little longer than the other ones, and trust me, it's totally worth it. Take action with your art. Oh man. The contents of this video is my most sincere and enthusiastic offering for a beautiful unfolding of your art practice in the weeks to come. I mean, my whole reason for being on this channel in the first place is I really want to do whatever I can to help you make your art dreams come true. I mean, that's like the whole point of this thing. And so I have some really good tools for the new year, and this will work for you whether you're a goal-setting kind of person or if you're more interested in having like a single word or an intention for the year. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to tell you about the main tool, and I worked on this one last night myself, and I'm also going to give you an update on the wording of the device that I was working on last night, maybe a more positive and wonderful wording. So thank you so much for your feedback yesterday, by the way, and your thoughts on how to best word that device. So I will give you an update on that. Let's get started. So these are all tied together. So let's start with what happened yesterday. I had this chart, and the chart is going to be, I didn't even name it yet, but it's going to be 100 what? Right? And so the idea that I was going to say is like fail 100 times. And I went through the reasons why I thought the word fail would work, because it's like so decisive and it's bold and it's sort of like, you know, taking risks and that kind of thing. But of course it skews so negative. And as somebody who is very optimistic and very aware of how your mindset affects your future, I had a suspicion that maybe that wouldn't be the right wording. So I've been reflecting on it all night and all day, and then I kept thinking about that word bold, and the word bold kept coming up again and again, because that's the whole point of it. You know, you're being courageous and bold. And then I remembered that famous quote, which I shall share with you, because this is one of those quotes that I've been carrying around with me on a little slip of paper for I think all my adult life. And it turns out that it's not, it's a famous quote, but people have been saying it's by one person, but it's not by that person. And here is the most popular section of this quote. I will share the whole quote in the description below, because I think the whole thing is really useful. But the quote that we've heard the most out there on the internet goes like this: whatever you do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. So this has been attributed to Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, and in fact it is by William Hutchinson Murray, who was a Scottish mountain climber, and it's from his book The Scottish Himalayan Expedition in 1951. And that last bit that I just shared with you is actually Murray's misquoting of Goethe. So, and he got that from a very badly translated version of what Goethe actually said in German. So we can talk about that some other day, because we're going to move on with this. So the point is, I've been walking around knowing in my heart that if you move forward with something with boldness, that things fall into place, and a lot can go in your favor if you are clear about what you want to do and you're really committed to doing it. And also, I think you tell people as well. I think it helps for people to know. And there's just being bold really does have a certain magnetic quality. So I really like to make stuff happen. If you know me at all, you know that's kind of one of my things. It's like, I like to make it happen. And so that is probably, I would attribute it to believing in this kind of mindset. So with that in mind, I really don't think that the word fail is going to work for my chart. And I think that the word bold was really working for me, but of course it's not a verb. You can't say like 100 bolds. And so I went through this whole thing. So since this guy who actually wrote the quote is a mountain climber, I even looked up mountain climbing terminology and was like, okay, so could it be like there's a word that in mountain climbing terminology that is approach? Like that's it's like the walking that you do to the base of the mountain. So it's an approach. So like, could it be called bold approaches? It doesn't have as much, force, right? And that I had a whole lot of other ideas: beginnings, commitments, directions, openings, starts, pursuit, pledge, launches, and then you all had some really great ideas as well. So I was thinking about all of them, and none of them quite got to what I was trying to get at with, I'm going to apply for this grant, even though who am I to apply for this grant? Like that kind of thing, right? And then last night I went to a wonderful event led by Misa Barron that was an action board making workshop. And, there are vision boards. This is different, similar, but I think more effective. And it's called an action board. And of course, action is a huge word in my life. So hello, 100 bold actions. That's what I'm going to call this, because I'm going to do 100 bold actions. And some of them are going to work out and some of them are not. And I really love y'all's idea about color coding it rather than doing the slashes and the circles. So if it comes to fruition, I will color it one thing. And if it didn't work out this time, I will color it another thing. Heck yeah. So that is what is happening. So if you're interested in doing that with me, yay. Because 100 bold actions sounds pretty good to me. And it could also mean other things besides applying for a thing, like maybe I do some other bold action, like approach somebody for a mentorship study or something. You know what I mean? So yeah, this is good. This is good. It's up my alley. Is it up your alley? Cool. But let's talk about action boards now, because last night I really enjoyed, but it's not just that I enjoyed this action board making thing. I know that it's really helpful and effective. And here are some things that make an action board different than a vision board. An action board is about, like what are the actions that I'm going to do to make this dream come true, etc. But also the way Misa set it up is for us to kind of put ourselves in the feeling state of where we want to head. So it's just not enough to be, to say, I want to paint a masterpiece. You have to, or no, I have to best really access, okay, hold on a second. Cut, all right. The way that Misa set it up last night was the idea that, and this is backed by neurologists' research, by the way, just to make a plan about something happening or saying that you want something to happen is great, but it is also extremely useful to pair it with the feeling. And you may have even been hearing some of these studies being put out recently. But rather than saying, I wish to paint a masterpiece this year, instead, I could close my eyes, kind of get into a meditative state, and think about how it would feel to paint the masterpiece. How would it feel after I've painted it and I'm looking at it? How would it feel to have it out in the world? And really take time with that feeling. And so when I go to do the action board and I'm, pasting a magazine clipping of a piece of art that's there to kind of symbolize my masterpiece, it is now kind of an artifact of this feeling state, not just the planning state, but like a place that's very powerful in helping to make something happen. And by feeling through it ahead of time, you are kind of like, you're making space in your mind for this to really happen. You're preparing yourself for it to really happen. And I have found through personal experience that doing this kind of visualization, emotionalization is super helpful. I mean, it really does help to prepare yourself for wonderful things to happen. It just does. And I'm sure you have heard this before, but I'm here to tell it to you again. And you can apply this to your art. And so that's what I would like to do next. So last night I made an action board, and it was kind of more for my kind of my whole life. And so some of the things that I included had to do with, yes, my career, but like when I talk about being a millionaire here, I called myself a self-care millionaire because I really want to focus on self-care in this quarter to come. And that's the other thing. Instead of having an entire year's worth of, vision / action on this piece of paper, if you do it for a quarter, then it's kind of a little bit more, it's less of a general concept and more of like what's happening in, on January 16th. You know what I mean? Like it's coming up, like really gonna do it. And so it's good to have the big picture in mind. But so like January, February, March, I'm gonna be a self-care millionaire, like whatever that means. It just means I'm gonna be rich in self-care-ness, right? So anyway, so this is really great to have that clarity, and it's the act of making this action board that gave me that clarity. So I want to talk to you about the things that are most needed in you, in my opinion, to make an action board that's really successful. So I'm speaking as somebody who maybe I've only made a couple of action boards so far because Misa just taught this to me like last year. I did it for the first time last year. But I've been making goals and setting goals actively for many, many, many years. So the first thing that you're really going to need for an action board, or really any goal setting, and maybe this is obvious, but we're talking about art specifically, is clarity. Now, as an artist, of course, I'm sure you have many, many interests in terms of art. And sometimes it can even be a little overwhelming because you have a creative mind and there are a lot of creative ideas that are vying for your attention. And so to come to a place of clarity about what you want to do in the next few months will really help you move forward in a way that the lack of clarity, it's like you could get stuff done and it would be amazing. Like maybe you could just couch it by saying, I just want to explore this next quarter and I don't want to have a goal. That's clarity, right? So, and then secondly, I really think it is important to tune into the feeling that you are going for. What do you want to feel like? And also taking time to feel that before you actually launch forth with your goal setting or your action board or your intention setting. And then third, working in the language that works for you. So some people are very verbal and it would work a lot better for them to just even have a piece of paper with a bunch of words on it. Other people, images are much more effective, and then some people, a combination of the two help a lot. I like that. I like the combination of words and images. So now I want to talk to you about, that's all nice, great, but how do you get to clarity? Like if you are a creative person and you have so many ideas in your mind right now, how are you going to get to clarity? So here are my best ideas for reaching clarity as an artist. Okay, the first one, also I'm sure you've heard a million times, and that is journaling. Hear me out. So if you already journal, you're like, yep, and I journal. But if you don't journal and you're like, okay, I have an idea for you that isn't writing. Because if you're not journaling and it's not useful to you, then because like maybe you like to say ideas out loud, perhaps you like to talk to a friend, that's an awesome way to do it. And also, though, there's a very, very wise person in your life, and that's you. So one thing that I like to do to journal is actually take my phone on a walk, and then I basically open up an email to myself, and then I do voice dictation while I'm walking, and I in the subject line write journal and then the topic of whatever it is that I want to be talking about. And then I just start walking and talking, and I'm journaling to myself. And then periodically I will go ahead and print them out, especially if it's on a certain topic. Like I say, I would like to see what I've been saying this year about, like when I was working on my master's thesis, like I would just, do a search for a journal thesis and then go through all this stuff, like ideas that I had for it and all that kind of stuff. But there's something about, if you are an external thinker like myself, there's something about hearing what you think said out loud, and then even also reading it back later. Super clarifying. So that is completely free, and you don't need anybody else to do it. So pretty handy. And then, of course, talking with a friend is really helpful as well. And you can take turns. That's also free. You could say, hey, do you want to meet for coffee or tea? Maybe we'll bring our notebooks or something. And can we just like brainstorm our lives? And if you are an artist and your friend is not, that's okay. Because my next idea is actually having a weekly friend meeting, and it could even be on Skype or Zoom if you don't live near each other. I have been doing this with my two of my dearest friends from college. We have been meeting weekly for like, I think 10 years now. And we meet specifically with the purpose of making our goals happen and giving each other accountability, but also kind of talking through things and helping clarify it. And neither one of them is an artist. One of them is an IT specialist, and the other one worked as a paralegal for decades and is now retired and is moving to Thailand, which was one of his lifelong goals and dreams. And us meeting every week to figure out how we can make our dreams come true really has worked. Like it's worked really well. And we didn't have to all be the same. We're actually, the three of us are quite different, and we have different goals, and we have different personalities, different, backgrounds, and it's still effective. All you need is people who are willing to like take time specifically for this activity, as opposed to chatting. Like it's easy to fall back on talking about your kids or just whatever. But if you both commit, or all three of you commit to doing this, that willingness is all you really need. And of course, somebody who you feel emotionally safe with. I think that's really important too. Somebody who's willing, somebody who would lift you up as you lift them up as well. If you feel like the kind of stuck that you're feeling is actually bigger than just, what do I want to do? Like if you have some things that are kind of deeper and feeling like more of a block than that feel like more of a block than that, like just what do I want to do? But perhaps you're recovering from grief or trauma, or you feel like you're in a situation right now that's holding you back. I am a huge proponent of therapy. If you can find somebody really that works well with you, that you can talk with, who can help you with life things, because they're a trained professional, it's truly powerful work to work with somebody who was trained to do that. So I don't know if you've been thinking about that lately, but I know that at least in the United States, we are having a national health crisis, mental health crisis. So I think more and more people are realizing, got to do therapy. So, But let's say you are in a space where you really need some deep clarity, but it's not a therapy thing, but you're just feeling stuck. I actually have an idea for that. And her name is Misa Barron. She's the person that had the action board workshop with us last night. She is somebody that I've known for 12 years, and she's so incredibly skilled at what she does. She has a practice that's a lot of different disciplines, including energy clearing, which if you've ever heard of Reiki, she doesn't do Reiki, but she does a different energy clearing approach that is so effective. She works remotely. You know, she can talk with you on the phone and do it. And I can't tell you, okay, so I am the child of scientists. So I have a certain level of skepticism in spite of the fact that I'm also kind of woo-woo. I am. And so, but what that brings is if I encounter somebody who is of the woo or witchy and they aren't coming in with kind of a certain clarity and generosity, then I'm like, bye. You know, so Misa is the opposite of that. She is warm. She is clear. She is kind. She is effective. She's the best. I mean, I've had her clear my, do energy clearing with me so many times now, and completely worth it. She got me through grad school. Let's just put it that way. That was a lot. So, she has a website, and you can check out all of the stuff that she has to offer. And it's not just energy clearing. Like, she does other work. Like, she has studied the I Ching, if you've ever been curious about that, and Akashic records, which I don't know much about at all, but I'm here to sing the praises of her energy clearing work specifically. And just to be clear, I'm not recommending her because she's my friend. I'm recommending her because she is so good at what she does. And then I will suggest somebody else to see her, like here in town, like somebody that I know, and I say, you should go see Misa. And then they do, and they're like, wow, thank you so much. So yeah, she's really good. Okay, enough about Misa. Oh, but she also has an Instagram, and I'm really encouraging her to start a YouTube channel as well. And so I think that she is going to do that soon. But yeah, so check out her website. It's listed in the description below along with her Instagram. Okay, so I can't let this video end without giving a few moments to us reflecting on those feelings that we want to feel in the next few months. So let's do it. Let's just do it real quick, shall we? Okay. All right, so close your eyes if it's comfortable for you. And if you're sitting, then find yourself with your feet on the floor, hands on your lap. You're sitting upright, yet kind of relaxed, shoulders and comfortable. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold. Exhale through your mouth. In through your nose. Hold. Exhale through your mouth. In through your nose. Hold. Exhale through your mouth. Let yourself come to this moment. Notice the feelings in your body. Are there any places where you're feeling tense? You don't have to fix it, just notice. Just be in awareness of the right now. And then take a moment to imagine yourself sometime in the next 3 months and put yourself in the experience of doing or having done something with your art that you dearly want to happen. Picture yourself doing it, but then also, how do you feel when you're doing it? Take a few moments to feel that feeling. It's okay if it's hard to get a very specific set of details here. You can just find those feelings that are linked with your hopes for this next few months. And then find yourself back sitting in your seat. Notice your torso, your arms, your hands, your head, your spine, your legs, your feet. And when you're ready, open your eyes. All right. So that was very quick, but if you wanted to do that a little bit longer on your own, I think it's really useful. You could do it like when you're getting ready to go to sleep, just lying in bed, envisioning this, feeling it. Doing it more than once is obviously even better, right? So, or you could do it first thing in the morning, you're lying there, feeling grateful for your life, thinking about this thing that you want to do. So I will tell you that what I was thinking and feeling about was this 100 days of bold actions. And I was imagining myself actually getting some of the things that I've applied for and how that would feel. And I also have something that I want to try as a warm-up these next few months as well. And so I guess I'm putting boldness into action because I'm going to tell you right now. And so if I tell you, then you're going to know. And so I have to do it. But it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time and I haven't had time. So I'm hoping that I will have time since my priority is more self-care, keeping it a little quiet these next few months. So for my art warm-up, for 100 times, yeah, I'm into 100. I like to do things 100 times. Anyway, for 100 times, I want to do, this is a challenge that's kind of common out there, 100 heads. So each warm-up day, I will be sketching or painting a head, a face. So I love faces and I always have. And, but I haven't done this before for some reason. So I'm doing it now. So now I've said it and I'm going to put it in my action board. So definitely going to include something about bold action, something about 100 heads, and then something about exploring my style. I wish that I had a better word for this. Exploring my voice, I guess you could say, my painting voice right now. Like, where am I right now with that? So those are the 3 things that I'm really going to be focusing on in the next 3 months. I'm not a big fan of making collages, but this seems to work well enough. Combination of cutting things out, even printing some things out from the internet and cutting them out, writing words down and organizing them in a way that makes sense to me. And the action board that I made last night was a larger piece of paper, but then I will go ahead and take a picture of it, print it on a regular piece of printer paper so that I can put it into my studio color notebook. And the one that I'm making today that's specific to art, I am going to make on a regular printer page as well, so I can just stick it in my notebook so that I can see it regularly. I'll put it, I think, on the front page or even on the front cover so that I see it all the time. And what I should do is put in my calendar a reminder that at the beginning of the next quarter that I'll check in with you to see how your action board has been coming to fruition, and I'll report back on mine as well. Sound good? All right, this was a long one. Thank you so much for sticking in there, and I hope that this helps you, and I look forward to doing this with you, and I'll see you tomorrow.